Hello everybody, and welcome to my first of maybe many videos on my 1998 TVR Cerbera. For those of you who follow my channel, I don't normally do videos like this, but here we go. I live in Perth, Western Australia, and as far as I know, this is the only TVR Cerbera in Western Australia. Although I did hear rumours there may be another one. I bought this from a local bloke here in Perth. He had imported it himself from the UK, where he owned it. I guess I'll start with a bit of history of the car. As far as I can tell, the bloke who owned it the longest was a bloke called Frank. I think he had it 6 or 7 years. He drove it all over Europe, Switzerland, Germany, France, and it wanted for nothing. I mean, I've got receipts from this bloke buying an interior light bulb from the dealer and having it installed for like £8, and many other receipts. Got a new chassis in 2007, which was a big factor in me buying it, because I'd read the stories of the chassis corrosion and so on. So yeah, let's go for a bit of a walk around. Now, the car was originally silver, and at some point during Frank's ownership it was rear-ended in London, and I'll insert a photo, I believe, but the front of the car was smashed and the back of the car was smashed, and it's at that point that he's decided to put the later model front end on. Although actually I think he sold it, and yeah, okay, you're on YouTube. But at that point it was resprayed in this red colour, which I think with a red interior is a bit much red. At some point in the future I'll probably respray it, maybe in its original silver. Maybe not, we'll see. But the paint's not too bad. From a distance, it does have the odd blemish here and there, but it's not too bad. Now, as far as work that I've already done on the car, I probably should have started doing videos on this a long time ago, because I probably have like 20 hours worth of YouTube videos if I did. I've gone through and I've done the suspension, brakes, fuel lines, fuel pump, fixed various oil leaks. But I think probably best if we have a look underneath, and I'll explain that from there. Righto, before we have a look underneath, I thought I'd just show you something. This is one of the brake rotors that are replaced. Now, from what I've heard, in the UK, in winter they salt the roads. I don't think they're lying. Have a look at this. That hole there is actually corroded through to the centre. Oh, there you go. But yeah. Having said that, apart from the brakes, it actually wasn't too bad underneath. Now, let's grab my torch. But yeah, here's the Cerbera in its favourite location. Now, as you can see, I've gone through, I've done all the suspension, all the joints are new. All these suspension arms and whatnot are all powder coated. Got nice new discs, new bearings, new seals in the calipers, new pads. The shocks I haven't touched, they're gas shocks. I've just sort of gone with the assumption that they're alright, and they seem alright so far, although it does need to be lifted up at the back. So yeah, roll bar, was powder coated. Now this here was interesting. This is the main pressure feed from the oil pump that goes forward up to the oil cooler. When I got the car, that pipe there was actually rubbing on the anti-roll bar there. So I actually remade that, and I think in future I'll probably go and redo it again because I've got a TIG welder now. And yeah, as you can see, there is an oil leak somewhere, although I don't think it's from that fitting because there's actually oil above it. I think it might be from the front timing cover somewhere. And if you go over this side, yeah, of course, filters new, oil hoses are all new. Where are we? Yeah, same thing on this side. Now, if we look up here, that's actually an electric power steering pump. That's off over here. They call them a Holden Vectra or Astra. I can't remember which. A Vauxhall Vectra in the UK, for all you UK people. And again, she's got a light coating of oil. I actually had a fitting on that leaking, which I just fixed the other day. But yeah, custom hoses for that. And I think the rack's about the only thing that I haven't touched that isn't leaking still. Now if we go back here, we'll either have, well, the clutch has stopped working. I can't get gears now. So I'm guessing the slave cylinder's gone. And well, there's always been a little bit of oil here, even beforehand. So yeah, I think the rear main's probably gone as well. But this video is kind of a precursor to pulling the engine, because I really need this thing to be reliable. And well, we'll get to the engine in a minute. Yeah, gearbox isn't bad. Are you helping? I put a new exhaust on it, and it's just a twin 2.5 stainless. Ow! Damn it, she's poking me with a broom. Yeah. This here's something a little different. A bit of an old hot rodder trick. Got some small 5/8 inch pipe that goes into the main exhaust. With a slash cut on the end, creates a vacuum that shoots up the front to the catch can. The idea being the crankcase stays under slightly negative pressure. I did this on a previous vehicle and it worked quite well. It's not working so well with this one. And yeah, exhaust out back. Hasn't got too much in the way of mufflers, but that's yeah, that's alright for now. I'm sure at some point I'll get sick of it and maybe put another couple of mufflers. The diff isn't too bad. It's weeping a little bit of oil, but nothing major. And yeah, rear suspension, yeah, everything's been powder coated. All these joints changed out with the, not the standard style, not the ridiculous ones you have to burn out with the blowtorch, the ones that just the poly bushes that you just push out. And yeah, caliper seals were done, new pads, new paint. I think at some point someone painted these calipers bright yellow with a brush. Yeah, it didn't look so good. And where are we? Yeah, these calipers here, they're meant to have a spring pushing the calipers apart, but the spring that they come with is actually it's like the spring out of a biro pen. Doesn't really do anything, but this one on this side drags ever so slightly. I mean, not enough to get hot, but you can hear an annoying noise when you're driving. So I might look at getting some different springs, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, there's a new fuel pump. It's in the Bosch catalogue. I think this one's sort of halfway between the stock one and a Bosch 44. I thought a 44 was probably a bit too big. I did actually buy one and then changed my mind. But yeah, all new hoses, new filter going on up in there. Yeah, as you can see, the chassis is not in bad condition. The previous owner, the bloke who had it in Perth, I think he slathered this this thick black tar type paint over everything, which I'm a bit of a fan of. I think it's a hell of a lot more durable than powder coat. I mean, that's why car manufacturers do it. Yeah, it's a one-way valve there for the crankcase vacuum setup. That's just off Summit. That's yeah, people put these setups on, you know, big box Chevys and drag cars and whatnot. Yeah, that's about it for underneath. Guess we'll have a look under. Righto, here we are under the bonnet. Now I guess where I'm at with this at the moment, I've made quite a few small changes. As you can see, it's got a new radiator. Down the front there's actually a new oil cooler, because that was quite severely corroded. Here's the catch can, and that bad boy just, if you can see there, it just plumbs into the, well, that's pretty dark. I might get the torch and show you that again, but yeah, that just plumbs into the standard oil outlet. There's another thing, when I first got this car, there was just, as you can see there, yeah, just plumbs straight in there, so any sort of excess oil just sort of falls back in there. Now, somewhere down here there's an oil leak. I don't know if it's coming out the dipstick, but if you can see that, I don't know if you can see that top of that water hose there, it's just always got a coating of oil. So I don't know if it's pushing out the dipstick or it's dripping off that out of my catch can, or I'm not sure. I've got to investigate that. While I'm here, yeah, got a fuel pressure gauge there, because it's actually got an adjustable fuel pressure regulator, and at various points in my fault finding efforts I figured, well, I don't actually know what the fuel pressure is, so yeah, she set it about 50 at the moment. And the eagle-eyed amongst you might notice that this air conditioning compressor is not the standard aircon compressor. I've adapted one from a Ford Falcon, a BA Falcon, because they're stacked 10 high at the wrecker at about $100 each, rather than was it $800 or whatever they want for the original one. And another thing, if you look down in there, that's the coil for this side of the motor. I relocated the coils out of the valley. So after changing the plugs and leads once, I thought, I'm not playing this game. And so I put them there. I actually had an intermittent misfire around 2,800, which I think some people reckon they kind of have a flat spot there anyway. But yeah, a lot of my troubles went away when I relocated those coils. I think they just get cooked sitting in the valley, and yeah, as soon as you put them somewhere cooler, they're seem to go a lot better. But as you can see, all these removable panels here, I've gone through and replaced. I've put what do you call those? These things. put these things on it, so you don't need tools to get to it. Now, not long ago I replaced the countershaft seal on the pulley for the alternator, and something's gone wrong because I don't know if you can see down in there, there's actually a lake of oil, and it's not coming from the pressure switch and the pressure gauge centre at the back, even though it looks like it now, but that oil puddle started up the front and is now sort of, well, I've only done a few laps of the block, but in that time it made its way down to the back. So we've either got a cam cover leak somewhere, or it's that seal on that shaft has gone again. But of course, once the oil hits the alternator belt, well, it just goes everywhere. Makes fault finding hard. Now, while we're looking at the motor, the fella I bought it off told me, I think either he did the valve clearances or the bloke he bought it off did the valve clearances. But anyway, if you know a bit about these motors, they're known for stretching valves, and as the valves stretch, the clearance tightens up, so you have to put smaller shims basically sitting on top of the valve, and this one apparently is on the thinnest shims that TVR sell. So, and it's got 100,000 miles as well, exactly 100,000 miles. And when I Facebook stalked the previous owner after reading his name on all the receipts, I found a post from him in 2016 saying, my odometer's stuck on 100,000 miles, how can I fix it? Well, yeah, I don't think he ever fixed it. Well, I know he never fixed it, because it's still on 100,000 now, so that must make it one of the highest mileage AJP V8s out there. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I don't think having that mileage on it has done a huge amount of harm. I mean, it's got 225 psi of compression on every cylinder, and it generally starts first go. Yeah, it runs weird sometimes, and I know the throttle position sensor, or the throttle pot, as you Poms like to say, on this side, it'll be sitting at sort of 15%, and occasionally it'll just jump up to 45% and then go back to 15%. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this whole injection setup, this MBE caper. At some point in the future, I'm going to I'll upgrade to either a Haltech or something with something modern with dual wideband oxygen sensors and the ability to do flex fuel, because there's a reasonably high compression motor, I think 10.25 to 1 standard, and if I get the heads done, which I will, they may end up getting a bit of a skim, so it'll maybe even be a bit more. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how it goes on the 85. And another thing I did, I bought a TIG welder, and I made a new header tank. I actually put a photo of this up on the Facebook Cerbera page the other day, and it looked absolutely horrible in the photo, but it's not too bad. While I'm here, I'll show you my first effort. This is horrifying. Oh, look at that. I like to think I've improved since then. You can see, yeah, got little bits there where I did alright. Then the rest is just a mess, and in the end I just gave up and started again. Anyway, guess we'll have a look at the interior. Right, here we go. I don't know how many of you have got small kids, The 2-year-olds absolutely love the push button doors on these things. They'll just press it all day long. Yeah, she's red. Very, very red. Now, leather-wise, it's not actually that bad. The seat here's got a little bit of a tear in it, but that's no big deal. I've actually got a carbon fibre cover thing to go over this part. Yeah, but the carpet, she's a bit rubbish. Yeah, carpet's copped a beating, but you know, 100,000 miles. There you go. Exactly. But yeah, everything works. Yeah, the windows go up and down slowly. Horns work. Oh, the air conditioning doesn't work. My new second-hand air conditioning compressor I got from the wrecker, I think I got a dud. Because, yeah, doesn't work. Yeah, not really too much to say here. Just a whole lot of red. And yeah, I'm fairly tall. So what they say about these cars being set up for tall people, yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't have the seat all the way back. Width-wise, it's quite cosy. But yeah, lengthwise, no, fine. One thing I did do, as I said, I've done enough work on this thing to, excuse me. Yeah, I've done enough work on this thing to probably make, you know, half a dozen YouTube videos, but just a bit nervous to take the plunge. I replaced the headlights, and I did the thing. These are actually off a, I bought these off eBay. They're actually off some sort of RV, like a gigantic bus thing with a bed and toilet and shower and for camping or whatever. But I actually did the thing. Oh, you can't see it from here, but I used the existing wires as a trigger for a relay, because TVR, I've got the battery here. All the relays for the lights and everything are in the boot, and then the wire comes back to the front, and I was getting like 9.5 volts. And I thought, well, it's not really going to, kind of defeats the purpose of putting new bulbs and lenses in. So yeah, I just had them trigger a relay at the front and just ran a cable. So it's one of those ones there. Ran a cable off the battery, and oh yeah, see in the centre there, that's no longer the window washer. That's the reservoir for the electric power steering pump, which I'll fire that up in a minute, because it's just worthwhile hearing the sound that thing makes. But the old power steering reservoir is now the windscreen washer reservoir. Now I've never actually run the windscreen washers with that. I did clean the reservoir out pretty good, but I think the first time I hit the button, I'm probably going to get a bit oily stain all over the windscreen. So, but I don't drive in horrible weather anyway. So, is that going to do it? it's not bad. That actually works pretty well. I think it's got a bit less pressure than the standard setup, which actually I actually quite like. The steering's just a bit firmer. I'll turn that off before it flattens the battery. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, good. No, I wasn't sure if it was going to let me turn the power steering pump off without putting the little thing in, but it's all working out, should it? Won't let me start it. Oh. Alright, so what else? I think I've covered most things, but yeah, I've got to do the clutch, I've got to do the valves, so yeah, it's really no point messing around. I've always known I'm going to have to do the motor at some point, so yeah, time to bite the bullet. So probably in about a month's time there'll be another video and it'll be me pulling the motor out. Just trying to think if there's anything I forgot. Probably heads. Oh well, thank you for watching, and yeah, stay tuned.